right, let's dive into one of the biggest challenges in modern medicine and how a brand new kind of intelligence is, well, completely changing the game. 55 million. That's not just a number on a slide. That's how many people are living with Alzheimer's disease right now, all across the globe. And what's really scary, that number is climbing, and it's climbing fast. We're talking a projected 78 million by just 2030. This is, without a doubt, a massive global health crisis, and the clock is absolutely ticking. So you have to ask, right? Why is finding a cure so incredibly difficult? Well, for decades, the whole process has been this frustrating maze of just trial and error. We're talking billions, with a B, billions of dollars, and more than a decade just to get one single drug from a lab to a pharmacy. And the worst part? Most of the time, they fail.
Okay, so before we get into the cool AI stuff, we really need to appreciate the size of the mountain that scientists have been trying to climb for years. Let's break down this drug discovery maze.
Yeah, think about it. The old way is this slow, brutal, expensive marathon. You've got brilliant scientists manually sifting through thousands, sometimes millions of different compounds. They're testing them one by one, just hoping to see if anything sticks. It's a process where, failure isn't just common, it's pretty much the expected outcome. But what if you could just throw that whole process out the window? What if you could replace it with something way faster and, let's be honest, a whole lot smarter? Well, this is where AI makes its grand entrance. And we're not talking about just another tool in the toolbox. We're talking about a whole new kind of scientist. Right, and the key thing to understand here is that this isn't some sci-fi master AI that just knows everything. No, the real magic, the breakthrough, comes from building what's called an ensemble. Basically, it's a team of specialist AIs. Just imagine a dream team of experts where each one has a totally unique skill, but they're all laser-focused on solving the same problem together. So, you're probably wondering, how do you actually build one of these digital dream teams? Okay, let's pop the hood and see how this thing is actually put together. Okay, so the technical term for this is stacked ensemble learning. But honestly, the best way to think about it is like a committee of super smart experts. You get each expert to give their take on the problem, but then, and this is the crucial part, there's a chairperson, the meta-learner, who listens to everyone. This chairperson knows exactly who's good at what, and based on all that, they make the final, smartest decision. So in this specific Alzheimer's study, which was a huge breakthrough, the team had three main players. First up, you've got Malformer XL. Think of this one as the billion-molecule librarian. It's been trained on over 1.1 billion molecules, so it speaks the language of chemistry fluently. Then there's Chemberta, the pattern specialist, amazing at spotting tiny, subtle patterns that a human might miss. And rounding out the team is the random forest model, which is like the master decision maker, incredible at finding those complex, non-obvious connections in all the data. And I really want to stress this. This is not some overnight hack. You don't just flip a switch. Building these models is a super rigorous, multi-week engineering project. It starts with just cleaning and prepping all the data, which is a massive job. Then you have to train each AI individually. And after all that, you test them again and again to make sure they're accurate and tough enough for a real-world fight. All right, so the team is built, they're trained, they're ready to go. Now comes the moment of truth, the big question. Does all this fancy AI actually work? Can it really take on something as monstrously complex as Alzheimer's disease? And the answer? A resounding yes. Check this out, 91.48% accuracy. That's incredible. That's how well the AI team was able to predict which compounds would actually work against the key targets inside the body that are involved in Alzheimer's. Just amazing. But here's what I think is the coolest part. The team, the ensemble, didn't just do well, it did way better than any of its individual AI experts could do on their own. It's definitive proof that this team approach works. It's that old saying, right? The whole is way, way greater than the sum of its parts. And this is where it all comes together. This isn't just a number in a research paper. This has a massive real-world impact. Think about it. Instead of a lab spending a fortune manually testing 10,000 different compounds, the AI hands them a short list of the top 500. It lets them focus all their time, money, and brainpower on the candidates most likely to actually work. That's a complete game changer. Okay, but this is where it gets really powerful. A big problem with a lot of AI is that it's a black box. It gives you an answer, but you have no idea how it got there. For scientists to really trust this, that's just not good enough. And the amazing thing about this system is it's not a black box. It can actually explain why it made the decisions it did.
It uses this clever technique called SHAP, which basically lets the AI show its work. It will literally point to a molecule and highlight the exact little pieces of it that it thinks are the most important. It can say, see this part right here? This hydroxyl substituted aromatic system? This is the key. It's basically handing chemists a recipe, a clear, understandable blueprint for what a good drug looks like. That's huge.
So, this all leads to the big picture, right? How does this one amazing research study grow into something much bigger? Let's talk about how this is evolving from a single paper into a platform that could change how we make medicine. Period.
Because this isn't just theory anymore. It's not locked away in some university lab. This exact AI-driven approach is the engine that's powering brand new drug discovery platforms, tools that researchers can log into and use, like right now.
And the before and after picture here is it's staggering. What used to be a 10 to 15-year slog costing billions can now be kicked off in a few weeks for just thousands. But maybe even more important than the time and money is the insight. You're not just throwing things at a wall to see what sticks. You're getting deep, understandable insights right from day one. And that's really the key takeaway. Platforms built on this tech, they're not just about being faster or cheaper. They're designed from the ground up to be easier to use, more trustworthy, and more affordable. And what does that do? It basically democratizes the whole field of drug discovery, opening it up to more researchers than ever before.
So let's just end with this thought. What we've looked at today, it feels like the beginning of a genuine revolution in medicine, because the framework, the AI dream team approach that can take on Alzheimer's, it can be aimed at other diseases too.